Welcome back, it's me, the Redstone Warper here, and today I bring to you the Gen 2 16x16 water-cooled display capable of writing any combination of pixels and 16 instructions in a 32-bit format, as well as being able to write individual pixels in an 8-bit format. In 16-bit instruction mode, you can write multiple pixels at once, allowing for very fast writing of the screen. We can demonstrate that by selecting a couple rows on the side here, as well as selecting a few columns, and using that one instruction we were able to write 6 pixels to the screen at a time, meaning that the maximum possible combinations of this to get any combination on the screen is 16 instructions comprised of 2 16-bit integers. Secondly, we can also write 1 pixel to the screen at a time by only selecting one selection of rows and columns to write a single pixel to the screen. In this way, we can actually decode these into 8-bit instructions instead, or into 4-bit instructions for the width and 4-bit instructions for the height, creating 8 bits in order to write a single pixel anywhere on the screen. Another important feature of a screen is to be able to clear it. So we have this really nice clear, super clean. It doesn't even update the pixels that are not lit, as a lot of screens will flash over, but because this one is so big and so many light updates try to process at the same time, none of the pixels actually light up, resulting in all of them just turning off. Now you may be wondering what this switch here does. This is just simply a switch to convert this from manual input right here into the computer input. This will be later headed to the GPU. Taking a look at the back, we see that we have 2 buses, one for the vertical lines and one for the horizontal lines. We're using the instant bubble columns, which is why it gets the name water-cooled. I've decided to call all of my memory that uses bubble columns as the vertical busing as water-cooled. I think it sounds cool, and it's sort of accurate. But we have 2 buses that both feed in, and so these will be synchronized when the GPU is writing to it, so they will happen at the same time. And what this does is this is basically an AND gate right here. So only when this line and this line are powered will it send the signal into the memory state. And this is typically called a logic matrix, where basically you have all of these vertical ones being activated at the same time, and you have all of the horizontal ones activating at the same time, but only where both of them are activated will it actually change the state of the memory. So when both of them get a pulse, then this will move forward, which then writes to this, which basically just controls that 1 pixel right there. The way we reset this memory is by pressing this button here. It sends a signal to that bubble column in the middle, and then that travels all the way up here, sending off a pulse to every row that resets these pistons to be the default state, turning off all of the pixels. Right here, this is how we switch from manual input to GPU output. This probably would not be included once this is complete in a functional computer. But the way this works is when you activate manual input, as the case, or right now is computer input, and so this will get pushed forwards, changing the direction of this redstone, and then this will also be pulled back, enabling these lines to be able to write, which we had to do so that this can get updated, allowing for the signal to turn off so that we can write to that pixel. And then again, the same thing happens there when it retracts. A GPU and video memory are also planned for the screen. The goal is to make a GPU that has basic functions for generating shapes, allowing for the CPU to continue doing calculations while the GPU is writing things to the screen. This will be done by producing a ready signal when the GPU has finished processing the image and writing to the screen, so that the CPU can halt as soon as it reaches the point where it needs to send the next GPU signal, in which case it will wait for the GPU and then send the next signal for the GPU to continue writing and the program to continue executing. The GPU is planned to have the following features: a line function, a circle function, a rectangle function, and other features are still to be determined as I create it. The GPU will also handle saving instructions to video memory and allowing animations to be stored in such video memory to be displayed on the screen. These instructions will be entered in a 16-bit instruction mode, which will use my 16-bit word memory array, which will be coming out in a video rather soon. This will allow for 2 screens per 64 16-bit word modules to be stored, allowing for the possibility to have at least 6 different programmable screens stored in video memory. Of course, not all screens will require to use all of that video memory, meaning up more than 6 is possible. Moving on, I have also created what I'm pretty sure is the smallest pixel writer possible, which decodes any of these positions into 2 numbers that represent the coordinates of that pixel, allowing us to use this very small interface to write to that screen any pixel which we want. So if I press one of these buttons here, you can see that 2 lamps show up on the side showing the X coordinate as well as the Y coordinate of the button we pressed. Currently there's no reset function involved, so we just press these buttons, but this will easily be included with a signal line in the future. The way this works is that by pressing a button, and actually I'll use a lever for this demonstration so that we can see how it works, is the piston underneath of the button gets pushed down, which uses this redstone block to power these rails. These rails go up and down, so any pixel along this entire column will get received by either this side or that side, which unfortunately had to be because powered rails do not update all the way across. So they will either power this set or that set, and the same thing happens on the bottom. The way this works is that as this redstone block gets powered, the powered rail updates, which sends the signal here, and the powered rail also updates this piston, which is quasi-powered, which then extends this redstone block powering these rails, which run the opposite directions. And this way we can tileably decode any position on the screen. Using this small screen writing interface, we will then be able to either send commands directly to the GPU or store them in memory for later use. And with that, thanks for watching. Let's get this out of here.